also see member clause, like member is this particular element is member of the list or not. So member A, B, C, D, we are checking whether A is member of list B, C, D. It's returning no. And we want to check whether who is the member of this list X, A1, B1, C3, D4. So it will return all the values for X, A1, B2, C3 and D4 because all these are members of this list. So you can use a member to try all values of the list and useful for the problems to solve like quintet or enumerating possible rows and columns in a game. If you are playing any card game like snakes and ladder or Sudoku, so moving towards left and right, you have to check whether it is the member of solution. If it is the member from solution, then go ahead. If it is not the member of solution, just discard that move. We were here in previous session, we are not able to resolve this query. It will check whether n is square root of 9 with the help of member function. So the n should be from this list 1 to 9, provided that this comma means and, provided that 9 is n into n. Means whatever the number n, it is from the list 1 to 9 and whose square is 9. N into n should return me 9. So let's check it with the editor. So this is a function square root 9n. We have our rule instead of function. I should call it as a rule. N member n 1 to 9. It should be a member from this list, and 9 is n into 9. And what I have to check here is I have to pass value for n square root of 9 3, whether 3 is square root of 9. It's returning true. Yes, 3 is square root of 9 because 3 is member of this list and 3 into 3 is 9. If I check if square root of 9 4, it will return false. Will it work without this line? If I just say 9 is n into n, will it work without member? Is it the correct rule? I want to find 9 n such that n into n is 9. It can take any value, right? It will return true. But just we want it, the search should not be infinite. It should return you the proper value. So we have passed that list. Next inbuilt function is appending. Append a list. Append a list means you will concatenate two lists to create a new list. So here append function, it takes 3 arguments A, B, C, D, E and L, and will return the L such as it is concatenation of first and second list. So output is L, A, B, C, D, E. It is inbuilt function like member. If you go to the online editor and just type here append AB, comma C, D, E and L, it will return L with A, B, C, D, E. You can change the, instead of A, B, C, D, you can take any member. It can resolve. For example, here, if you want to create a blank list or a new list, so what you have to do is append, this is empty list with ABC. So you want L is equal to ABC. So this is a new list with ABC. And we can also check if I append, what should I append? get output, what should I append to get output P A B C? What should be the value of X? So it can resolve that. Note that P is not an element, it's a list. Append works on two lists, first and second. So X, it has written, it is a list P. So same thing here, X, it has written A, append. Append can resolve other parameters. Will it work with second parameter? For example, if I have given here P, comma Q, what it should append to Y, give a list P, Q, A, B, C. So it should be the value of Y, A, B, C. So it is mapping it with the rule and will return value for Y as A, B, C. Can you define your own append function? Now we are using inbuilt append function. So can we have our own append function? Can we rewrite our own append function? So this is the solution. You have to find out how it will work. So append, it's taking three arguments. X, first list which has X and tail. Sorry, head and tail. Second is X, and third is head and new tail. So, and how it should work? It should call append again with tail, then X as it is, and new tail. And it will continue till your tail will be empty. Now let me start the camera first. We'll solve this. With one example. Tell me the example for L1 and L2. We want to find append function. First list A, B, C. Second list C, X, Y, Z. And what I have to do is append X, Y into C. So that L1 is one list, L2 is other list. Here I can write A, B, C bracket, comma, X, Y, Z in bracket. But just for simplicity, I have created these two lists and X, it should be L1 and L2. Now we have to solve this with this rule. Our rule is L1, what is head and tail in case of L1? A is your head and B, comma C is tail. And L2 is X. And P is head, whatever the head is, and new tail. So head is A and new tail. I call it as P1. So my append function is now, this is first call, append. A is head, first list, because these are three parameters that we passed. L1 is head and tail. This is T, tail. Now this is X. L2, second parameter is X, and third parameter is head, whatever the head is, and new tail, T1. Now this, we have to find out what is the new tail. Here one variable is T1. The unknown variable is T1. Now we have to find out the says append tail X and new tail. So if we call another append with tail, what is tail? BC. If we call new tail, X is as it is. This is X, Y, Z as it is, and new tail.
Excuse me, ma'am. Ma'am, can you please address the camera?
Visible?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
So new tail is again T1. So it will continue till this list is blank. It will call append again, the recursive call. Now here tail is B and tail is C, and new tail will be T1 will be. Here it was B, now it is A, comma B, comma T1. It will call append again. Head, it will pass call with the tail. Tail is small c. X is as it is x, y, z as a list. And this P1, that is new tail will be new again P1. We call it as P1. So it will call append again. Now for C is the only one element in the list. So if you take head out, it will be a blank list. Blank list, then this is X, Y, Z, and T1. So then it will match it with the first rule. What is first rule? First is blank, this is X, Y, Z. So new list, that is T1 will be X, Y, Z. This will be X, Y, Z. It will written back here, and that was B. So it will append B to X, Y, Z. Then it will written back to the previous one. It will written A to X, Y, Z. And finally, you get the answer. New tail has A, B, C, X, Y, Z. It will use inbuilt function append to write your own function. Or you can change the name. Instead of append, you can use append call. Here it is a recursive call. You go on CAR till you get a blank list. If it is a blank list, whatever the second list you will copy as new list. Okay. Now here, what you want, it should copy head into new tail. So this syntax, head into new tail. So head was initially C, then it was B, then it was A. So it will append C to this list. X, Y, Z. In next, when I will return to the previous recursion call, it will append B. This was head and this was new tail. Then A. So you will get A, B, C, X, Y, Z. Now we have seen type, yes. This one? What? You have to write the append function like this. Append whatever. It should work. If you take append A, B, C, X, Y, Z and P, it should written P is equal to A, B, C, X, Y, Z. Concatenation of two lists. It is an inbuilt function, but if inbuilt function is not there, if you have to write in your own logic, you can write it with this. Let me show you here. Instead of append, I just write append 1. So you should not get confused with whether we are using inbuilt function. Append 1 is recursive call. So here I am taking append 1. Pass two lists. So it will return new list L, which is concatenation of A, B and X, Y. A, B, comma, A, comma, B, comma, X, comma, Y. We have written our own function. So if you write a list, say in bracket A, vertical bar, and a list tail C, comma D, what it will written? A comma C comma D. Is a part. It should be the part of which. No, no, no. I want to check whether it is working or not on the prompt. Vertical bar operation. This one. It should return a list with A comma B, A comma C comma D. If you write like here, H, T and A, B, C, D, E, it returns A as H and B, C, D, E as T. But if you provide this, it should return you the list that I was checking for. Now about data types in Prolog. Prolog is weakly typed language. What is meaning of weakly typed language? We discussed that Java is strongly typed language. C++, they are weakly typed language. What is meaning of weakly and strongly typed? Weakly has platform independence. No. Correct. Type conversion is automatic in weakly typed languages. Compiler, interpreter automatically convert integer to float or the compatible type. For example, in C language. But in case of Java, it is mandatory to the programmer. Explicitly, you have to do type conversion. Typecasting is must. Otherwise, your program will not run. So strongly typed languages are very strict about type checking rules, and weakly typed languages are doesn't concern about type checking rules. Similarly, Prolog is weakly typed language. It provides preposition for testing type of a variable. Yes, there are variables and these variables have type. Even if we are not explicitly defining variables in Python or sorry, Prolog, Python, Lisp, Scheme. These are dynamic type languages. Dynamic means type is decided at runtime depending upon what value we are assigning to it. Here X can be a string, X can be a list, X can be an integer, depending upon the value we pass to that variable. So you can check whether X is a variable with these predicates. Predicates returns true and false. So if you check var X, it will check whether X is a variable. For example, in this example, I'm using X here. So let me check whether X is a variable. So it will return true. Yes, X is a variable. I have to delete these queries because we are using online editor and may return Stack Overflow error. You can check non-variable X to check whether X is not a variable. Atom A is an atom. What are the atoms? Any constant value is called atom. It can be an integer, it can be a string, whatever. The basic elements of the language are called atoms. Integer, it will check whether X is integer or not. Real, number, integer or real is called a number. Whether it is a number or character. Just to differentiate between characters and numbers, we can use a number predicate. Atomic means it is an atom or a number or a string. Factor T is termed with a factor F, arity 1A. Arity is whether it is binary, tertiary operation, which type of arity. It should be a term with factor F. So if you go on writing the rules for grammar, you can define another language with the help of Prolog language. You can define the rules for a language. And in that case, writing a grammar rule, you need term and factors. So we are not using these three statements in our syllabus right now. Yes, yet is a rule in the program. To check whether it is a clause, rule or fact, you can check whether this P is a rule in this in the program. you can trace the solution, how program is executing, like how we debug our Java programs, how we debug our C++ programs. We set breakpoints and we execute statement by statement. So, for example, here you directly get the result, appended values. These internal steps are hidden. It will just return true or false or value for the variable. If you want to check whether it is correctly executing implementing your logic or not, you can use trace command. Now this trace command is not working with online editor. You can download PyProlog and check how to trace. So just you have to type trace and dot. Here it will return true because it will check whether trace is inbuilt function or not. It is just returning true. It should go to that trace prompt, and there I should call append a comma b and cx comma y, and it should show me internal steps like here. In this case, we are checking whether there is a path from A to D. Our previous example, we have edges from A to we have edges from A to C, A to B, A to C, and C to D. And we have to check is there a path from A to D. And the answer was true. But how it was executing? It will first call path A to B. So is there a rule or fact in our grammar for path A to D? No, we have a rule. A is X and D is Y. So first we have to check is there an edge from X to any node N. So A to any node. This is internal variable. Then it will check, yes, there is a edge from A to B. A to B. So it will check, is there a path from B to D? Second part of the rule. Edge from A to X and path from X to Y. X to B, sorry. So is there a path from B to D? So first it will call B to, is there a path from B to any node? And so there is no path from H from B to C. And path from C to D. Like this, it will continue till you get the true answer for both the means both the sub goals of your rule. So this is how you can check step by step execution of your code with the help of trace. So path A comma C, it will answer you true. So we have path A to C, path XX, path A to C, path AA, X is equal to A. So go back and check is there any other path exist. So A to C, X is C. So there is a path from A to A, there is a path from A to B, A to C, and there is a path from A to D. You need a stack to store intermediate solutions, as well as we use substitution, that is instantiation, to replace X and Y from rule with new rules. Just tell me what this function will do. Sub empty bracket list, we are defining a rule. Sorry, this is one fact. Sub of empty bracket list. And sub of the list is not empty. It has some head and tail from the list. Then we are checking member. It should be the member of list. And then we check T is sub of list. So what it will return, or for which value it will return true. What does this code will do? It is a recursive statement. Like this function will do append. Here what it will do? Sub bracket list, and rule is sub list comma list, where head should be the member of the list and remaining part, for remaining part it should call the list again. It will take. Okay, if I give this is my first list. Will it return true or false? Can you solve this like we solved for append function? Think whether it will return true or false. Second list is just a list. First list we are dividing into head and tail. And so we sub A comma B. So this was a query. This is a query. We'll check whether it is matching with any of the rule. So first rule is first it should be black. It is not matching. Then we'll go with the second rule. Second rule we will divide it into head and tail. Head and tail. This is the list X, Y, A, Z. Right? And first it will check member of H. What is H here? A. Whether A is member of this list, it is true. And then it will call sub again for tail. There is B and list. Now for this, again B is not null. So first it will check member. Whether B is member of this list, it will return true. And we have to check sub of blank. So here head is B and tail is blank. So blank is in list. So yes, it is true. Blank list it will return true. So this is true, this is true, this is true. So your answer will be so what this function is doing. A and B are not in a contiguous map. Actually. Sublist is when A and B are coming together. There is a Z in it. It will check whether each member of this list present in the other list. Is it clear? Now just tell me what this function will do. If I didn't want to name a variable, I can use underscore. Underscore can be a list or can be a number. It can be anything. Unnamed variable. No need to give a name to that variable. We can use underscore. Underscore means don't care. It accepts any value. Like don't care in your del. It can accept 0 or 2 or false, any value. Tell me what this function will do. It is very similar to sub function, but there is just a small change. It first is a rule, fact. If it is blank and you pass anything, it will return the blank list. It doesn't care about what the second element is, but return value is first list as it is. And this is a rule. First list is divided into head into tail. Second parameter must be a list. And then what it will return head as it is, but some P. And we have to find out what is that P. So for that, it will check whether H is member of this list, second element. If it is true, it will call this again for tail and list. Then what is P? Again, there is another rule. HT list P if it is not a member of this list. So there are two rules. H can be a member of this list. H can be a non-member of the list. Then it should written P. Tail, list and P. It will written blank list for till you will get a blank list. So what it will do? What will be the output of this? What should I pass? For example, if I want to check this function, singleton variable means variable which is not defined yet. So here blank, then list h comma t. First rule is member h comma t, and then we call this function again, and here non-member. So take one example and check. This is the value of L. If the elements in first list present in the second list, it will written first list. If the members in the first list are not members of the second list, it will written a blank list. So if it is null, then it will return null. P is null. But if it is a member of the list, then it will return the list as it is. Otherwise, it will return a null. We have checked for max of two values. Initial operations for checking maximum of two values, we use x greater than y, then return x, otherwise return y. Max function. Max x comma y is x. Then you can say from maximum of x and y is x when x is greater than y. If x is greater than y, you can say that maximum of x comma y is x. So for that we have checked it with terms. Max say 3 comma 4 and any variable put here dot. Max x comma y is y. If x is less than y. So here it will return max value, whether 3 is max or 4 is max. This we have checked for two variables. Now suppose you have to write a function which will take a list and return a maximum from that list. Take a list of elements and it should return maximum value from that list. So list x, list is the parameter that you are passing and x is a maximum value. So max 3, whatever the list is, it will return x is equal to 8. Suppose you have to write this function. What will be your strategy? How will you write a Python program to find out maximum from the elements of the list, maximum element of the list? So you have problem is given to you, and you have to find out the solution. So how you will go? The first thing is we have to use recursion. Then divide list into head and tail. Compare x to head and tail. So assume some minimum value to x, and then compare it with head. Whether head is max, then replace that x with head, like how we write a logic for max, and then call it again with tail. Then again divide that tail into head into tail, and every time you check it with the head, whether you are getting the x is maximum with the head, then x is as it is. If head is max value than x, then you have to replace x with max. So there are two cases, head and max tail. In this case, head x is head. Otherwise, if x is less than head, x will be as it is. What is the base case? Base case means where you will stop. If you get the blank list, you have to return x. You have to return x. So that is your, if this is blank, then you have to return x. That is your terminating condition. So can we write this function? Max. Max, if this list is blank, then you have to return x. Max if we pass a list, then its max value is x, provided that if we pass a list, its value is x, provided that max. How to check whether first divide this list into head and tail. Then we have to check whether value of head is greater than x, then return x, else return tail. Then again you have to call function. This list you have to call it as h comma tail and x. Instead of this list, we will divide this list as head, vertical bar tail, and x. So here we will compare. We need to initialize x with some value first. In first case, let x is equal to t. First element, that is head, is x. First we'll return head as x. First element, we assume that first element is maximum 1, and then we compare it with other elements. So that will be our first rule. So it should return you h. X is h. So we want x as h. So max whatever the tail is, we call tail with h. X will be now h. And you have to check whether tail head from the tail again is greater than or equal to head, h. H is now x, so it will be written x. So this is your base case. Max of whatever a single element is, that element x itself. Then max h of tail, that is t, is h. That is first element is max element, as we have thought of. Max tail x, provided that h is greater than equal to x. So this case we have to write greater than equal to. And if first element is not the max, the second case, then you have to provide what we can write here. If first element is not the max one, we assume that first element is max and then compare it with the tail. If head is greater than equal to x, it should replace head with x. Otherwise what? X should remain as it is. First element is not max, then it should call it again with a tail and passing x as it is. So max h, it will not h, it will be tail comma x. So that's it. This is again an interesting problem. You're familiar with Tower of Hanoi? There are 3 towers and 4 discs, and you have to arrange discs such as minimum disc should be on the top, minimum should not be at the bottom, maximum should not be on the top. You have to arrange that, or you have to just swap a list from one tower to other tower such that you can arrange it properly into a single tower. There are 3 towers, one A, B, C, and 4 discs. And you have to arrange the disk as per their hierarchy: maximum, minimum, minimum, and minimum. So here we are using functions like move n, from, and to. So move top disk from this tower to this tower, A, B, C, D. Suppose we have 4 towers. So right function will just to display it. This is your case study. You have to understand this problem and you have to note down how it will work. And you can refer these sites for tutorial or your understanding. Move more than one disk. So just go through this example and try to find out the solution for Tower of Hanoi, how it will work. For more learning material on Prolog other than this PPT or what are the videos we have shared, your textbook, you have to refer chapter number 8 from Ravi Sethi for this chapter, unit number 4, Prolog. And these are various tutorials available. You can go through that. Mainly what we have seen from the Prolog is logical programming language. It is not like any other programming language where you have to define variables, call a function. It's not like a traditional language. It focuses on problem and try to find out the solution for that problem. It works on facts, rules, and queries. Facts means the truth. You provide that this is the truth. Father, A is father of B, or cat likes fish, or in this case, age. There is an age from A to B. So these are the facts. Rules can be, you can define your own rules depending upon the facts. For example, you know father of, mother of, then child or male XY. You can write a rule like grandfather of. X is grandfather of Y, provided that X is father of Z and Z is father of Y. Or for example, in case of age example, you have written a rule path, such that there is a path from X to Y, provided that there is an age from X to Z and path from Z to Y. So these are called rules. And fact and rule together is called Prolog program. Prolog program you can say with using .pl extension, and you can run with consult and filename.pl from the prompt. And then we can provide the queries, and the answer for that queries is your output. It can be true, false, or values of a variable. and it mostly work upon with the help of backtracking or recursion. Many times you have to backtrack to find the solution, go through for every case. It will start from first rule, compare it with the facts, unless and until you are getting answer true or false. So number of times you have to backtrack to make our program more efficient. To reduce number of backtracking, cuts are used. What are the cuts? Cuts is explanatory mark which tells do not follow this path, this path will not lead to the correct answer. So cut means it, you can use cut in the rules as well as in the queries. So we have talked about cuts. Then we talked about Prolog. How Prolog is an example of logic programming language. It works on list, it works on members, it works on normal variables. And lastly, we have seen multiple examples with Prolog. I'll stop here. In the next lecture, I'll take a revision or any example from the Prolog from start to end, just to revise what we have seen.